I'm the kid of one of those traveling RV families online, and I hate them for it every day.
Okay.
This one's for us.
I am laughing because that is what I want, but
Not as
caveat
a
on that,
child.
we don't have kids and we're not dragging kids along for it, although it's kind of cool. It's kind of a little bit of what my life was, but not nonstop, but I travel a lot.
Okay. My parents decided when I was only 7 years old, far too young to get an opinion on anything, to pack us up and move into an RV to travel around the US. My dad works online and my mom makes content online. She's not huge by any means, but big enough that we get recognized sometimes, and big enough that I've had a camera shoved in my face for as long as I can remember. For my privacy's sake, I won't say anything else on that, and I'm using a throwaway account because I've gotten enough attention already, and I'm sick of it. I sleep in a tiny bunk bed that I outgrew years ago, and the other bunk is the only space I have to put anything of my own. I don't even have a room, just a curtain, and thank God I'm an only child, or else I will have to share the small space I already have. I was homeschooled for most of my education and then switched to online school at my own insistence for high school. I'm an 18-year-old girl. I don't have a single friend in person because the longest I've ever stayed anywhere is a month. I don't have a job and no way to get one because of not being stationary unless I find one online, which also means I have no way to move out and get away from them. I've had conversations with them about all of this countless of times, and they are so delusional and genuinely believe that a nomadic existence is the best way to live. So why would I ever need anything else? I hate them for treating me like some pet they can just drag along in their plans rather than their child. I hate traveling. I don't like the heat. I hate dealing with bugs, and I'm so sick of hiking. I can't wait for the day that I finally figure out a way to get away from them with their morning hikes and cameras in my face. I've traveled around the US, yeah, but God forbid I want to have a normal life, go to college, or maybe even make some friends. That's asking too much.
Wow. Oh, that's yeah. Okay, I can see it being selfish on the parents' part. It's tricky, right? Because the parents, they grew up a normal lifestyle, and
Mm-hmm.
then like they dreamed of having the freedom that they have now, but without recognizing it, they have forced that on their child. And honestly, like 11 years, that's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I could understand
This is
me,
majority of her life.
right? Like I could understand doing it for like maybe a year or
Mm-hmm.
two, like when you're 7 or something. But that is like, yeah, like that kid, it doesn't like it, but it's really tough because no, I feel like there is a sense of like no matter what your childhood is, you always want the opposite. Like I grew up on a farm and I always wanted to move into the city. So is it that? But I also think
I
like,
grew up in the suburbs and I never wanted to move anywhere else.
okay, well you're the exception. But I feel like
I don't think
I feel
so.
like there's a general consensus out there that people that grow up on farms and property, they want to move into the city when they get older. And people that grew up in the city, they want to move out of the city, move out of the apartment and get space and land. I feel like that is a normal thing.
I'm going to disagree. I don't think majority of people are that way. I think there are some people that are that way, but I don't think majority.
Mm.
That
So,
could be your experience, and that's fine.
yeah. So that's why I like it sucks for her, but are her parents bad parents?
Yes. In my opinion, yes.
I don't know if I can go that far because they are.
She is voicing her concerns to them.
I
She is reliant on them. They won't even let her, like, she's not stable enough where she can even make a life for herself. She can't make her own money, so she has to be reliant on them. They're controlling her life. She's 18 years old. She's a legal adult now. She can't get a job to move away.
She could get a job, but she has no place to live. Like she's 18. She's saying
She
she
can't.
can't get a job because she's never in one place.
Yes.
So she doesn't have a place to live. Yeah, that's tough. That's a delicate balance, I would say.
If your kid is begging you,
Right? To like, can we have a normal life,
yes,
please, please?
you are 100% selfish for continuing this. Like, okay, I understand if you are if you want to be a parent, you want to have kids and whatever, and you want to still like live your life of freedom and traveling and everything, like that's all great and dandy, but like you are being very selfish. You cannot control your child like that and drag them along this 11-year long trip.
Yeah.
Like that is so insane. If they love it, fine, but as soon as they make a concern, make a comment, like you have to revoke it. Like you have to make, what's it called?
Your kids' priorities? Your kids' opinion priorities?
Sure. There was a word, but words are hard.
Words are hard. Yeah, I know. I'm kind of like I'm waffling over here because part of me is like, yes, like the kid has expressed it, but like that doesn't mean as soon as your kid expresses something, you automatically do whatever your kid wants all the time. Your kid would want to eat ice cream for every meal.
Yes, but this
so
is
it's like,
not
where's
normal.
that balance?
This is not normal.
Not normal, right? But
Yes.
but as a parent, you don't owe your child a normal childhood, do you?
No, maybe not. But you have to not only think about themselves, and that's what they're doing in this situation. They're only thinking about themselves.
I do agree with that. I do agree with that they are being selfish, and like I can like there is a lot of them coming out of like the kids, because YouTube has been around for a while now. Like there's been kids who have been raised behind the camera, and they've been coming out, not just RV life, but other kids of families and stuff like that. How it affected them growing up, always being pushed on your camera.
Exactly, that part too.
And that's so tricky because it's like you're under 18, you can't give consent.
There's no consent,
but your parental person has the right. Like with like our nephew Andrew, like we shove cameras in his face all the time, and we're taking cute pictures of him all the time. He can't consent to any of that.
Yeah, but he also can't speak.
Yes, but when we were kids, we also never consented to our parents taking our pictures or pulling up the video camera. It's totally different
for content creators.
I agree, but it's like where's that line?
A content creator or someone capturing memories. Like there's two sides of the spectrum. It's not that gray.
Yeah, no, I see that. I'm torn on this one because I do think the parents are being selfish, and I do think that it overly sucks.
I do understand what you mean, though.
But do the parents actually owe you as a child like a regular, normal childhood? Like I feel like
I think when you choose to have kids. Sorry to keep interrupting you.
It's okay. Oh, you're interrupting me.
Yes, I am. Okay. Sorry.
You got so many mulligans. It's okay.
What was I gonna say? Damn it.
When you are a parent.
When you choose to be a parent, like I feel like you have to put your kid first, and like you're making that decision to have a kid, and unfortunately, like yes, give up some things in your life. Like you have to be selfless when you have a kid.
I feel like you should be, but I don't know. Like I grew up on a horse farm. I didn't like doing chores all the time, and I still had to do them. So and
you have resentment for that.
I do have resentment. This kid has resentment, but that's where I'm like, as a parent, if you don't want your kids to resent you, then you should listen to them. But as a parent, I feel like you shouldn't necessarily do every single thing your kid asks for, but you are there to help raise them and grow them into a functioning adult for society.
But this isn't like like a kid is begging for a piece of candy in a candy store. This is affecting her life for 11 years. This isn't just like something that she wants. You can't like...
What if they can't afford to buy a regular house and they only have the RV because of...
I'm sure they can rent. How much is an RV? They can sell the RV. They can rent. Yeah. There are so many other options. Like,
I do agree with you. I am just slightly torn because I'm like, where is that line of like normal childhood? Like, I live on a farm and I went to my parents and I'm like, you know how many times I wanted to live in the town? I just wanted to live in a townhouse. I didn't want to live on a farm. Do my parents owe me to move away from the farm to go move into a townhouse because I'm jealous of my friends because they live in townhouses in town and they don't have to deal with chores or anything like that? Like, I don't feel like my parents owed me that just because I asked for it.
No, I get what you mean.
Yeah, so that's why I do feel for her and I think it's unfair. And I do think the parents are selfish, but everybody's a little selfish towards what they want, right? I don't know.
Okay. One of the comments, I can't even imagine how lonely that must be. Do you have any other family you can go stay with? He replies, not that I know of, unfortunately. Currently, my plan is to try to figure out how to make some sort of income online and save up so I can get an apartment. And I'm talking with someone I've known online for a long time about maybe being roommates to help with costs for both of us.
Yeah, I mean that is so tough because like from the parents' eyes, like they went through the normal school and then they're like, "Oh, you don't know how good you have it because normal school sucked. We had to go to the same place every day and now you have freedom. You have all of this freedom. I would have died for this as a kid." But now as the kid's position, you're like, "Yeah, but like I'm not making any friends. Like I don't you are missing what you see other people have and you're like, I don't have anything stable. Everything is always changing." And for a kid, I feel like having a stable place is like an important factor in like development of like having that
No, I
home base
agree.
as like where you always come back to and you always the consistency. Ever since she was 11, everything is like rapidly changing. Even the landscape out the window is just like rapidly always changing. Nothing can be like nailed down and solid. Like, yeah, and that is so tough too because like that aspect of like, okay, so you raised your kid from 11 to 18 in the RV. But now the 18, the kid's an adult. The kid can make it her own or his own decisions. And not to mention the fact that they're like cramped in the RV and like no privacy, never really created any of that for them. But like, there are people that live in very tiny apartments and they almost have the same size amount that a potential RV could have. So there are people who have a solid foundation and are still having same issues as this person could be having of like limited space. But when you get to 18, how do you get your first job?
That's what I mean.
How do you get an
They're
online
preventing
job?
her
Yeah,
from.
how do you get an online job with no experience
Yes.
or anything? Usually like online jobs, I don't know, you have to like work into them, have to have a knowledge base and whatnot. The world is more accessible now than it's ever been. But when I had to get a first time job, like I had to go into Canadian Tire. I wouldn't have been able to do that if I was living in an RV. So like how does she transition from like being a child that's relying on them to like becoming an adult? I think if she could try to go to college and get on residency, a dorm room, that could be a great step. But her parents have to be willing to like help make that happen.
Yeah.
Not just being like, you're a slave to the back of the RV, you better do the dishes or
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
So this is very complicated.
There's another comment that basically mentions the same thing that you said. Going to college is perhaps the easiest way out, but maybe not the cheapest. However, certainly a good step forward for multiple reasons. OP replies, I'm definitely looking into it, but I'm worried about it because the way I was homeschooled, I was very behind academically and struggled a lot in high school. I was just happy I was able to do an online high school program rather than homeschooling. So, like, they're just setting her up for failure.
Yeah, like it depends on how much support they are willing to give her. Like that would probably draw my opinion on whether or not they're actually shitty parents or not. Of like, okay, your child is 18. She's expressed that she doesn't want to do this. She's expressed that she's stuck. Are you helping her be like, okay, us getting out of the RV and buying a normal house, that's not an option for us. What are other ways that we can help you? Are they helping her to make sure that she gets into a college, can go on to into a dorm room situation? And yes, with the homeschooling, it's hard and you struggled, but like doesn't mean that there's no expiration date on college. So you can keep going the routes, keep learning to keep passing the entry exams. You can keep striving for that as long as you keep trying. And what would make you a shitty parent is if you're not even helping at all. But it also sounds like she says that she's worried because I'm being homeschooled. So she hasn't really like fully gone through that process yet. So she needs to have a talk with her parents, I would think.
So there's an update that was posted 9 days later. Hello, barely over a week ago, I made a post talking about my very negative experience living in an RV with my parents for around 10 years now. Despite it being such a short time since I posted it, a lot has changed for me since then. I don't know how many people here would be interested in an update on my situation, but I know quite a few people were very concerned and would probably appreciate an update, so here it is. Also, fair warning, this is a fairly lengthy post. I have a tendency to ramble, so there is sort of a TLDR at the end. I had a lot of people give me really helpful advice, resources, as well as even offers to try to help personally. some being questionable, admittedly, but majority being genuinely concerned, wanting to try to help, and I very much appreciate that. It was slightly overwhelming, to be honest, and I ended up not responding to a lot of people, so you'll have to forgive me for that. But even if I didn't respond much, I have been doing research on a lot of the information people gave me. Something that stood out to me was people asking if I had any family I could stay with, to which I had to respond, not that I know of, because I don't know anyone on my dad's side of the family, and my mom has strictly no contact with her family. I did not know if they were alive, if they cut her off, if she cut them off, or even any details about them, and my mom had never wanted to talk about it. One information I did have was my mom's maiden name, which is pretty uncommon, and where she was born, which in terms of trying to find family can actually get you surprisingly far, I've come to realize. I've always had a slight hatred for the internet because I've never had any choice in my life being public knowledge, and I know that once something is out there, then it's out there. But for the first time, I'm actually really grateful for the internet. I was able to find some information on my mother's side of the family, and specifically was able to find my grandma's Facebook account, though it did take me some effort. After a lot of stressing on how to approach messaging her, if I even should, as well as potential outcomes, I messaged her explaining my mom's life, who I was, and my situation. I won't go into details onto why my grandmother and my mom are no contact, because that is not my story to share. But my grandma was appalled that she had a granddaughter she didn't even know about, and even more so, the way in which her daughter raised me. I found out I have an aunt and an uncle, both of which my grandma told them about me and my situation. I've been in pretty much constant contact with all of them since just learning about each other. All of them want to help me get out of this living situation with my parents, and luckily with me being 18 now, it's actually possible. Again, I don't feel entirely comfortable going into details, but I have arrangements to go stay with my aunt who lives in a big city on the West Coast that had a lot of potential opportunities for me to start college or whatever I see fit, which I do plan on figuring out college, happy to announce. My uncle has kids, but my aunt lives on her own and has a spare bedroom which she has no problem letting me stay in for as long as necessary. I have a train ticket scheduled and purchased by my aunt and enough money to get to the station. I'm talking with my family currently and trying to plan out the details, like how or if I'm going to tell my parents. My mom doesn't know any information on where any of her family lives, so even if I were to tell my parents who I was going to live with, they wouldn't know where I was specifically. Someone pointed out that if I did leave without telling them, I should leave a note or some form of proof that I left willingly, so if I do opt out of a conversation, I'm planning on either leaving a note or filming a video explaining my plans and why I'm leaving, which would be kind of ironic, wouldn't it? Regarding my mother filming, I've been very quiet around my parents and just refusing to talk when the camera is on, but neither one of them has mentioned it so far, luckily. Also, speaking of my mother's content, I would like to very much emphasize something quickly. Almost everyone was genuinely trying to help, but I had a few people replying trying to guess who I was. Luckily, the few I saw were basically torn to shreds and ended up deleting their comments. I also had a few people who messaged me privately trying to make a guess at who I am, which at least that's not public, I guess. Although I can understand being curious, I posted anonymously with very little personal information for a reason. As I stated in my previous post, I've gotten enough attention and I'm very much sick of it. I would very much appreciate if you guys can respect that. Even if you think you might know who I am, please, please, please don't make public guesses and understand that I don't want this to be even more public information tied to my name. Very long story short, I have set plans to leave as well as a safe place to go with my aunt and very much appreciate so many people being willing to help. If you had told me not even 2 weeks ago that I would not only have planned to move away from my parents, but also contact my family members I didn't even know existed, I don't think I would have believed that. I'm currently not planning on making another post updating this, but wanting to let everyone know who is concerned about me to not worry. Genuinely, thank you.
I'm actually very worried. Like, on the surface, it does sound good, and I'm happy, and that she made college and everything, but they're like, realistically, you are contacting strangers. Like,
Yeah. That is, yeah.
I think you owe your parents a conversation for your own safety about why your mom doesn't talk to any of her family anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe your mom is the crazy one and she's the reason that she doesn't talk to them, or maybe she ran away from an abusive family.
Mm-hmm.
So I would be very cautious about that, because I'm like, yeah, on the surface that sounds great. I'm like, oh yeah, you got a hold of your grandma. Oh yeah, you have an aunt and uncle, and they have kids, and they have a spare room, and they're gonna help you with college. And I'm like, that all sounds great, but there's just something in the back of my mind is like, well, why doesn't your mom have contact with them?
Mm-hmm.
Is your mom the crazy one, or is your mom's family the crazy ones that she escaped from?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. There's a comment that says, "Be careful. You don't really know your mom's family. I know it seems like an out. Just be careful."
Yeah.
OP replies, "I absolutely will be. Why my mom isn't in contact with them makes total sense, and none of it was their fault. Plus, they were able to send me evidence of that. But despite that, I definitely don't know them personally yet. My train out isn't scheduled immediately or anything, and I'm planning to continue talking with them until then, but they do seem to be genuinely concerned and trustworthy. Plus, my aunt, who I'll be staying with, seems super nice, and we have already figured out that we have certain things in common."
Okay. Still, I think a conversation should be had with your parents, but I'm getting the sense that her parents don't want to help with her situation at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're just living their life. They're so selfish about themselves that they're not even like considering
Mm-hmm.
what your child wants. Like I said, like you don't give your kid ice cream for every dinner, but that doesn't mean you never give them ice cream ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you gotta figure out a way to have parenting balance, I believe. Like,
Yeah.
so I feel like there has to be some listening and maybe explaining, like, no, why we can't do this or why we can. I was always a big hater of, we just do this because.
I know.
It's like, I always
Because I'm
wanted.
the adult.
Yeah. And I hated that from teachers. I lost all respect as a kid and a teen for people when I asked for the reason why something is, and I just got, well, because I said so.
Mm-hmm.
I lost all respect. Like, if you could explain, hey, we're going to do this A, B, and C because this is my thought process for how we should do it, I would 100% respect that and be like, okay, that makes sense. Let's do it. But I hated when adults were like, because I said so, I'm the adult here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
So, but it sounds like her parents are not helping
Mm-hmm.
at all, to the part where she wants to just leave a note and run away, or leave a video and run away, where I'm like, damn.
Yeah. Okay, final update. Hello, it's been a while and I wanted to check in on here to hopefully give a few people some peace of mind. In my last update, I explained that I had gotten in contact with my mother's side of the family and had a place to go stay. I can proudly announce that I did it and am in a safe place now, totally away from my parents with absolutely zero contact. My aunt is an absolute angel, truly. She's so kind, and that's not even including my grandma and uncle. When I first got here, my aunt, as well as my grandma, took me out on a little shopping spree, bought me clothes, decor, and furniture for my room, because I have one of those now, and honestly anything they thought that I would need. My uncle has introduced me to my cousins. He has a younger son and a daughter who's very close in age to me, and I would say that we have become friends. I've been able to go out to do a lot of fun things with her. My aunt is currently helping me research colleges near us, but has reassured me I can do anything on my own pace and there really is no rush, that her home will always have a spot for me. My aunt, in general, is such a cool person. She's someone I very quickly have started to look up to and have gotten close to. The more time we spend together, the more we learn that we actually have a lot in common. I'm just so grateful to all of them for being here and being so supportive. My aunt is also really helping me figure out who I am as an individual. For the first time, I'm in charge of my identity, what I share, and who I share it with. I dyed and cut my hair, got a nickname, and have been exclusively going by it. My cousin is currently on a journey to help me learn about what makeup I like. She's also introducing me to her favorite music groups as a self-proclaimed cringe but free K-pop fan. I have an entirely private Instagram account with all of 5 followers, and I plan on keeping it that way. I just feel like a normal teenage girl for once, and I've never felt happier. When I look in the mirror or just think about my life in general, I'm actually happy with it. I guess I never realized that I wasn't comfortable in my identity as a person because honestly, I had bigger things to worry about. This is all more than I could have ever imagined, and honestly, I have a hard time even processing it sometimes. I'm officially in therapy though, so maybe I can start working on that as well as processing my past and how it plays into my identity in the future. My new therapist is actually the part of the reason I'm making this update. She thinks that posting this could be a good way to get closure to a certain extent, as sort of a way of acknowledging what I went through, but also moving on into my new life because I have a whole future ahead of me, one that I am very excited to experience. So keeping that in mind, this will be my final update on here. I want to be able to enjoy my life in future while keeping my privacy. A lot of people really wanted me to share my story more, expose my past, but at least for now, I've decided against that. It's my story and I can choose to share it or not. For once, I have control over who gets to know what information about me, and I'm not willing to give that up yet. But I suppose I don't know what the future holds. So I'm asking as nicely as possible that people please respect that. I absolutely appreciate the support and advice from so many have given me, and just know that I'm safe. I can honestly say that I'm happy and I'm planning out my future, what I want to do with my life, and who I am besides just a person on camera. So thank you so much for everything and goodbye.
Oh, I'm happy it's a happy ending and her aunts and uncles didn't turn out to be the crazy ones.
Yeah.
And, I was leaning more towards, hey, maybe the mom is on the teetering crazy side because you kind of have forced your kid to live in an RV and now they want to leave. So there are some signs there that she might be the crazy one. I don't know. I'm kind of torn on both sides on that one. I just feel like you doing the RV life and the content is not the worst parenting thing, but I feel like not listening to your kid when they don't like it and they don't want to do it anymore and not finding a balance for your kid is so selfish that it becomes bad parenting.
Yes.
The fact that your kid wanted to run away from home, leave a note and say, goodbye, I'm 18, I'm not coming back. There is a comment that I found that was kind of funny in the way down belows. My advice to anyone being forced by family to participate in content: have Disney-owned music available on your phone. Set up a shortcut to play it with a tap. If someone gets in your face to film you unwillingly, play that music as loud as your phone will go. The mouse will go balls to the walls to take down unlicensed use of their properties. If cops get to use this life hack, kids being exploited for views should be able to as well.
Damn.
Copyright infringement. Yeah, any time like that, like you got to clip. You can't put that on YouTube or anything, or else you're not making money. That's wild because there's so many. I see so many Instagrammers.
Oh, I know.
And
with their kids,
TikToks and like got like 3 kids and like, yeah, we converted the back and stuff like that. I can see how 11 to 18 too long. No going back to stableness.
7. It was 7 to 18.
Sorry, 7 to 18, 11 years. Like no going back to stable. Like that can wear on you.
Yep.
I feel like mentally that can really wear on you.
100%.
Not being in the same place for a while.
That's not natural.
And she probably has complained about it for years and is stuck. There's no adjusting or changing that.
Yep.
Crazy fine.
I thought it was appropriate.
Fine. It is very appropriate since we want to like RV life.
Yep. But we don't plan on having kids. So.
What if the cats don't want to be stuck in the RV?
Unfortunately, this is why my cat psychic will come in.
Are you serious? Oh my God. We're going into that right now?
We can.
Teresa wants to hire. I don't want to swear, but she wants to hire a motherfucking cat psychic.
I saw a TikTok.
No, wait. This is the best part. It's not even like you take your cat to the psychic and they pet them, they touch them, and they're like, oh yeah, I know this thing. Not even a FaceTime call. No, you just ring them up like a normal phone call and they'll be like, yeah, I know what your cat wants to tell you. That just sounds like they're spewing out some bullshit. Like if you told me like, oh yeah, I got to take the cat there. She's got to hold the cat, pet the cat, and she will communicate with the cat. I would still think you're crazy, but I would give you, yeah, okay. Maybe,
I want to do it.
Maybe. But the fact that you're just like, oh yeah, it's just a phone call and they'll know. Just phone me up and they'll know.
I saw video evidence.
is fucking bullshit.
No, it wasn't. The lady knew that her cat had butt issues.
Every cat has butt issues.
No, Luna doesn't.
Jack does.
Luna doesn't.
50-50 shot. Half the cats had their butt issues.
That's not half.
Uh-huh.
That's half of our household.
We with small sample size.
Guys, should I do it? Should I do it? It's like $120 for 30 minutes.
I said, hey.
And the next appointment is September.
That's fucked. But I said, hey, if we weren't building a house, go ahead, waste your money on whatever you want. We'll put
What's $120?
We'll put it in your hobby category.
1 can of paint?
Put it in your hobby category. Use our credit card for it. You pay for cat psychics, and I get lots of car parts.
Oh yeah, because that's the same thing.
It is. At least my stuff has physical
What?
weight, value, usage. Buy some actual tires or something.
Okay.
Fuel. Seatbelts, helmets, something. Ridiculousness. Enough. We're moving on from your cat psychotic psychosis thing.
I'm doing it. Move on.
2 weeks from now on our life update in September 2025. I talked to the cat psychic today, guys. Luna doesn't love me. Love Denver. All right, over to me. I'm doing mine.
Go.